This is a story all about how Basecamp got turned upside down. It started with a little bit of bigotry and ended when executives banned all employee committees, leading 1/3 of the company to quit. Today on Double Take, Basecamp and the best names ever. When employees protest and when executives fight back. Rick, this is the last time I'm asking. Put that bullhorn down and pull your pants up. Welcome to Double Take, a second look at the headlines. But first, what is Basecamp? Jason Fried and David Hannemeyer Hansen are the top two executives of software company Basecamp. Yeah, you can manage a project with little pieces of colored tissue paper, but Basecamp allows teams to manage communication schedules and files from a single dashboard. Technology, baby! Basecamp also released Ruby on Rails, the open source software development kit used to power applications like Shopify, SoundCloud, and Twitch. Their company places high value on trust. Fried and Hansen Hannemeyer have given employees the choice to work from home for 20 years. They also encourage their employees to work no more than 32 hours per week and to travel the world. A 3-day weekend every week? I could see myself at a job like that. Fried, Hansen, Hannemeyer, and Basecamp employees also write books and host a podcast on leadership and product development. They are frequently consulted by industry insiders for their expertise in these areas. And according to a write-up in Inc. magazine, they also care about diversity. And Lord knows tech needs more women and melanin. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Fun fact, David Hansen Hannemeyer is a professional race car driver. Word has it he likes his software developers like he likes his race cars. Fast and furious. I love how fast your code compiles on my machine. He's never been heard saying. Back to Basecamp. My overall impression of Jason Fried and David Hansen Hannemeyer is that they're cool, down-to-earth, hardworking, reasonable people leaders. And that's why the best names Catastrophe really took me by surprise. I didn't see any of the leadership I would expect from these two in this situation. The best names list started off as what seemed like a harmless gag. Customer names that sounded kind of funny were compiled in a list, shared with other employees, and over time, the list grew with more and more funny names. The best names list was never revealed, but we imagine it may have included names and reactions like these.
Deja vu. What are y'all parents smoking? And this is a sad man. Tell me he don't look sad, y'all. Browdy Negro. Yes, it's his real name. Chubby Cox. Oh, you know what? If you can just flip these names.
Hilarious, right? I'd have to say yes, I'd laugh at those names. They're pretty funny. Unless it's a code of conduct violation for inappropriate use of customer personally identifiable information. You're not supposed to use customer data that way. You're fired after you get 100 lashes of the whip. It's also not funny if that's my name and it brings back bad memories of all the times kids picked on me. And hate crimes are on the rise. More are reported now than 10 years ago. And the news cycle is full of racial assault and discrimination stories. It's just a crazy time right now. I want to reiterate, a list of funny names is funny. Unfortunately, when cultural differences are the punchline, people often find it hard to laugh when their culture is the butt of the joke. Are people outside of your culture laughing with you, or laughing at you? This situation reminds me of when Dave Chappelle walked away from the sketch comedy series The Chappelle Show in 2004. Chappelle was doing a sketch in blackface when one spectator, a white man, laughed particularly loud and long. The spectator's laughter struck Chappelle as wrong, and he wondered if the new season of his show had gone from ridiculing stereotypes to merely reinforcing them. When he laughed, it made me uncomfortable, says Chappelle. As a matter of fact, that was the last thing I shot before I told myself, I gotta take time out after this, because my head almost exploded. In his most recent series of Netflix specials, however, Chappelle has gone from feeling uncomfortable about laughs he receives to comfortably telling jokes about his distaste of transgender inclusion initiatives. The author and poet Saeed Jones describes the impact of Dave Chappelle's biased jokes in an op-ed printed by GQ. The only thing more brutal than someone saying hurtful stuff is someone saying hurtful stuff moments after making you laugh, which makes the betrayal all the more devastating. The employees at Basecamp found themselves in a similar position. They didn't want to circulate a list of Asian and African names that might lead some to laugh for the wrong reason. Fried and Hansen Hannemeyer investigated the list, eliminated it, and apologized. End of story, right?
Wrong.
When an employee posted an image of the ACLU Pyramid of Hate in a Basecamp discussion board, CTO David Hansen Hannemeyer said it was inappropriate to consider the list in this broader context. He then reposted messages the employee had written related to the funny names list in hopes of discrediting the employee's perspective. CEO Jason Fried responded by creating 6 new rules for Basecamp in a blog titled Changes at Basecamp. The post starts with words of wisdom from English philosopher Aldous Huxley and goes downhill from there. The martyrs go hand in hand into the arena. They are crucified alone. The lovers desperately try to fuse their insulated ecstasies into a single self-transcendence. In vain. Every embodied spirit is doomed to suffer and enjoy in solitude. I suffered alone reading this blog post. But hey, let's review the 6 rules. Rule number 1. No more societal or political discussions in our company's Basecamp. I do not want to hear one more word. Rule number 2. No more paternalistic benefits. If you like going to the farmer's market, do it on your own time with your own money. We're not giving you anything to help you lose weight or take classes to better yourselves. We're not your mom, we're not your dad. We'll give you a profit sharing instead. We are not positively incentivizing you to do anything. Just do what you want. Rule number 3. The most important rule, no more committees. We don't want a diversity, equity, and inclusion committee. That work's going back to Andrea, the head of ops. She's got a job, let her do it. If there's a morality question, Jason and David, the owners, we're the principals, okay? We're the ones who decide what's moral around here. We don't want your input. Small council, you think you can help us with strategic decisions? You can strategically shut up. If we need your input, we'll ask for it. Rule number 4. No more lingering on past decisions. Including these 6 new rules. I don't want to hear one word about this blog post! Rule number 5. No more 360 reviews. We read the 360 reviews. They all say everybody who works here is excellent. If you guys are going to lie about how good your coworkers are at their jobs, I'm not doing 360 reviews anymore. It's a waste of your time to write them. It's a waste of my time to read them. Somebody's got to give them honest feedback, and if it's got to be me, so be it. And rule number 6. No forgetting what we do here. This is a software company. We make software. Who made Ruby on Rails? We did! Who made Basecamp? We did! Did we give up our seats on a bus? Or whatever it is that Rosa Parks did? No. Are we going to rallies? No. Are we standing up for issues? No. We're not a societal impact company. We're not a protest company. We're not an activist company. I don't care how many people are getting punched in the face or shot in the back. That's none of our business. We make project management software. If someone wants to use it to do that stuff, guess what? We're helping them. I think that's enough. Hey, this is David jumping in real quick. We do encourage our employees to exercise their right to activism and political engagement outside of work. Okay, Jason, you can continue with your rant. I'm not going to shut down your political aspirations outside of work. But when you're here, you're not family, you're an employee. Now get to work and stop eating breadsticks. There are 3 key takeaways from Basecamp as it ends a decade of collecting very funny customer names. Key number 1. Don't threaten your boss with a lawsuit. When an employee posted an ACLU pyramid of hate to an internal message board, it may have put the company at risk of a lawsuit. Imagine a scenario where a Basecamp employee assaults a minority outside of work. If Basecamp executives then agreed that their list of funny names could have contributed to an environment that allowed violence, they would be legally liable, potentially, for a lawsuit. Yikes. Key number 2. Discuss big problems verbally, not through message boards, emails, or texts. The only good thing that comes from an online debate? The fireworks that ensue. Can you believe Mark and Susan are at it again? Oh my God! Do yourself a favor and pick up the phone to call the person you're having beef. Listening to a person for a few minutes on the phone often accomplishes that goal. Because at the end of the day, every person's embodied spirit just wants to be understood. Who knows? They may just delete that incendiary post that puts their favorite bosses at risk of a lawsuit. Key number 3, create clear boundaries by telling people when they annoy you. Basecamp employees were annoying their founders long before the company's diversity club requested the practice of collecting funny names to be terminated. Freed's blog post indicated he was exhausted by employees questioning his decision-making. He should have made this clearer before. By reacting to employees in anger, it shows that Freed was holding a lot of frustration back, even if he had expressed some of it already. Be radically candid. Tell people how you feel when they approach you with their gripes. When you bottle in your frustration, you may find yourself erupting at the worst of times. The final word. Blowing the whistle on discrimination or discrimination-adjacent activities can lead to retaliation city. Even when leaders are strictly opposed to retaliation and build inclusive environments, they are still prone to protecting their company. In this case, leaders retaliated by restricting employee feedback to the C-suite. It's important to remember that leaders fear being seen unfavorably or being sued. However, when leaders attempt to avoid these outcomes, it may make them appear bigoted or despotic, even as they avoid this appearance. When Jason Fried outlined a new set of rules for employees at Basecamp and David Hansen-Hannemeyer backed him, it felt like 2 kings reminding their serfs of their position. In this case, the serfs had a choice to make. A, to continue working, but to mind their status and keep their mouths shut. Or B, to reject this lowly serf treatment and to accept a 6-month severance package. That's right, the executives offered employees who left 6 months of severance pay. What that means is, these employees were so annoying that the executives would rather pay them to leave than to hear them complain one more day. Finally, Matt Damon's dramatic reenactment of Jason Fried's memo. Matt Damon's monologue reimagines Fried's memo as a speech. Will Fried persuade employees to continue working for him, or will they take his money and leave?
I know you think we are playing by your rules, but let's be clear. You do not make rules. Ever. You follow them. Even when you think you have autonomy, even when you think you have control, that is an illusion. This is fact. It is a fact you will never understand, and you will go to the grave not understanding. The same way I will go to the grave not understanding the genius of God's magnificent universe. But I did create these rules, and you are playing by them now, even if you walk out of here with my money.
In the end, 1/3 of employees took the money. Oh, I'm taking your money, bro. Understand that. Me too, and I don't even care about this issue. If you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Next week, I'll reveal why, in spite of the Funny Names List event, I think Basecamp has one of the best approaches to diversity, equity, and inclusion I've seen. Seriously. And now, your moments of Zen. Here's something that should be obvious. People don't like to have their grievances downplayed or dismissed. When that happens, even the smallest irritations can turn into an obsessive crusade. Ain't that the truth? 100.